Okay, so I'm going to call the meeting to order of the City of Monona Sustainability Committee, Wednesday, February 16th, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from January 13th?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I just seconded as well, so we're good. Thank you. All those, any changes, corrections? None? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Great. The minutes carry. Thank you. We obviously don't have any appearances. There's nobody here but us, so we'll move to item number 5, which is unfinished business, energy roadmap planning. Elisa, do you want to update us as to where you think we are with that?
Yeah, I can give a short update. I definitely have not been able to make as much progress as I had hoped. But I think, so I've gotten a chance to look at some other examples from other municipalities. Primarily McFarland has a really great example, and Molly made the connection there. I think their plan is definitely maybe a little more involved and in depth than what we want to do, but I think they've got some really good pieces that we could sort of model after. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at that one, Nancy, and have any thoughts on it.
I
see it?
did not, but I understand that that to some degree it was more modeled more like our strategic plan that we put together originally. Is that right?
Yeah, right. So that's right. It's modeled in part after our 2015 sustainability plan.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why I think we don't necessarily need something that's that in depth, since we have the 2015 plan already.
Right.
I think the way I envision this roadmap is more condensed and more like project focused, as opposed to like, these are our overarching sustainability goals, and,
Yeah.
and definitely more focused in on like energy specifically, rather than like energy and transportation and waste and, you know, all the different categories.
I would agree. Yeah.
So it's been good to see that. In McFarland's plan specifically, they have a nice table, I think it's in one of their appendices, that sort of breaks down like the steps and actions that need to happen for particular projects. And I think that might be something nice for us to at least go through the exercise of like figuring out for our own projects, so that we know like which committees are responsible for which decisions. I think it could be a good practice in figuring out what the steps are to get a project done, and where both the committee needs to play a role versus where other committees or other city staff will have more of an active role.
Right.
So that's something that I liked about McFarland's plan. In terms of, so the other thing that I was sort of looking into was grant funding and other funding sources outside of the OEI grant.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say that I haven't had a ton of luck finding more like private or like nonprofit grant options. There's certainly a lot of like Department of Energy grants, and with the infrastructure bill, there will be like funding coming through for sustainability and energy efficiency related things. But there's a lot of, it seems like there's a lot of stuff right now where it's like, we know there's federal funding coming, and that there's not always like, it's not like applications are open right now to get that. We're like waiting to see how municipalities will be able to get that funding. So I think that might work out, since some of these projects that we have talked about are more in like the 2023, 2024 range. But that's that's sort of an overview of what I've been looking into.
That's great. That's great. In looking at the minutes from the last meeting, it seemed to me too that Ken was saying that, and I concur that, part of, I think, what would be helpful for us to do, and maybe that's part of when we create this roadmap, is, do a better job of communicating what we have done. Because I know, we've put together the dashboard every year, but we're not necessarily connecting the dots. Like if our electricity has gone down, let's just say if our electric has gone down, or if our use of we're not necessarily tying it to, well, gee, we've invested in changing out all the city facilities with LEDs. I mean, that's significant investment, to do that, taxpayer dollars, or, and so to me anyway, it just seems like part of the roadmap is not only grabbing pieces that make sense, that you were just referencing several from looking at other people's plans, but also making sure that we're tying in the kind of ROI that we're getting out of the investments that we have made and are making, when we're producing things like the dashboard, so that people, because otherwise, I just don't think that people are connecting the dots, and and I think, we really need to be able to tell the story in a compelling way, that, whether it's when we put new solar on the buildings, or when we, whatever we do. As I said, when I put together that document, I was even surprised at how much we had accomplished, even though I've been looking at the dashboard every year. But again, I think we weren't necessarily connecting the dots to the return on investment that we've been getting. So I will definitely take a look at that McFarland plan, and I would love to hear what other people, to what Ken says, updating the 210 document that's currently on the city website would be good. Yep, that's the 25 by 25, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think, there's the 25 by 25 plan, which is part of our energy independent communities
yep,
commitment, I believe, and then the 2015 plan as well. And they're slightly different, but I mean, obviously they're both getting old, so.
right. And
Yeah,
so
it's almost 2025. So if we undertook an effort to start redraft
right.
25 deadline, just going through and checking the boxes on the efforts that have been done and have been completed versus the ones that have been explored and excluded from future consideration would go a long ways towards refreshing that document.
Yeah, I started to look through some of those like suggested projects that are in the 25 by 25 plan. And I mean, most of the like energy efficiency related things like we have done, there were definitely a few that, like that we had maybe looked into and didn't actually follow through on. But I think to Nancy's point, there are quite a few things that we've already been doing that we could do a better job of communicating what the return on investment has been for those projects.
Right.
Could not agree more. And I think the word that Nancy used, story, is so powerful. Like, we need to know how to tell our story. We need to have talking points. And I know that phrase almost sounds like nefarious. It sounds kind of like some sort of premeditated, like a talking point, but it's not. It's we just when Nancy also said that she herself was surprised at how much we had accomplished. I agree. I'm embarrassed to say that I find it difficult sometimes to just off the top of my head list off the things that we've done. And that shouldn't be the case. Like I should have that list memorized. I should have some easy to understand, some stories, some talking points, the ROI. And for the school project, and I hate to keep coming back to that, you know, as though it is the magic bullet, it's not. But for that team of people, you know, we're meeting every other week. I'm talking with Peter every third day. And I think it's just more at the front of my mind, whereas here we meet once a month and it can be difficult to carry that momentum. So what would help me is just to sort of put some effort into this body to create more talking points and the sort of stories that Nancy's talking about, because we don't meet more than once a month. The website, like Ken was talking about, for the school project, that's really been the website. Those are our talking points on the website. You know, we just list them out right there. Anyone has a question, look at the website. It's as much for our own internal use as the public's use. So just some things to think about there.
Right.
It's good to hear you say that you were surprised by the list, Nancy, because it just made me feel like maybe I'm not the only one. You know? Gosh, yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, even things like, I mean, and I was surprised somewhat too, because in truth, when, as an example, when we do the capital budget, even though we budget 5 years out, you know, those budgets belong to other departments, right? They don't belong to us. And so, as a sustainability committee, and I definitely spend most of my time focused on what's budgeted for this current year, because we're wading through the capital budget and the operating budget at the same time. And it's a ton to wade through, just in addition to all the other business that we're doing at the same time. And so even though the staff is projecting 5 years out and we're all projecting 5 years out, I don't really spend a lot of time looking at 2026 or 2025. And so, for instance, when I did that for the document that I put together for you all, like the whole LED streetlight thing that Brad has been talking about for a while, like I was really excited to see that, you know, it was in there. Public Works put it in there, and that it'll be done in 3 years. Like I was thinking it was going to take 6 or 7 years, you know. So at least that's the way it read. So, you know, I just think we need to be better at capturing that. So to that end, well, first of all, any other comments from other people related to, you know, in terms of this conversation? Any thoughts?
I want to volunteer myself to work with anyone else who would be interested to revamp our website and really make it clear to the public. Here's what the Sustainability Committee does. Here's what we have achieved. Here are the ROI statistics. Like start working on our story that we can be at the ready to explain to anyone who asks us. If that's what if that's what you feel is needed, I'm happy to volunteer to do that.
That'd be fantastic. So Ken is typing in the chat box again about the website, saying that people could actually monitor. You're talking about the city's website, Ken? I'm gonna wait for his. Correct. Well, so he says the city's website actually says that as a citizen, you can monitor what's going on with our solar arrays, but there's no link. There's an example.
I mean, and Teresa, I'm happy to work with you on website updates. I know there's a lot of back information, especially on just the sustainability page, that is out of date, hasn't been updated. And yeah, I'm more than happy to help with that. I was just thinking it might be nice to have a little like accomplishments page
Right,
that details like, here are the things we've done in the last 5 years and a couple projects that will be going on in the next, 2 to 3.
right.
And I think also simplifying it, like I've got lots of ideas for the website.
Yeah, right. And as Teresa said, and yeah, the accomplishments page, Ken saying yes, and Teresa saying yes, and yeah, the ROIs I talked about. So yeah, it would be great to be able to work on that. And I think maybe if we use McFarland, and if there's some other models, like you said, there's some things in the McFarland plan that you like. And if it makes sense to, steal, I don't believe in reinventing the wheel if we don't have to. And so if there's some models that you like out of that, to help tell that story, I think that would be fantastic if you two want to work on it. And I'd be happy to help in any way as well. So, let's see. So is there anything else on the energy planning roadmap?
Well, I just spent all of, 3 minutes looking at McFarland's plan, but it's amazing. It's really well done. And I like how they do like one page for each topic. And then on each page, they do near-term actions, midterm actions, and long-term actions. And it's really easy to read. It's just bullet points. And I'm really impressed. I'm able to read it quickly, and it's well designed.
So Dan, sorry, I just missed your comment. You said you'd be willing to do what?
Help with the communication plan around web organization. I think it's one thing to organize and clean up what's there. I think if we come up with a framework for how we want to communicate and organize, not just accomplishments, but impact. So I think of some of the
Right.
organizational models we've used, like we have these goals, here's the objectives, here's the measures, and then this is what the projects are, and just ladder it up. That way, I think it would really simplify telling the story for community and help us get organized for how we put content together and figure out what's going to be easy, because it's a lot of work.
Right. So am I hearing that it's like kind of a two-step process that maybe we tackle cribbing the McFarland plan or doing the work, kind of the laying out the roadmap, if you will, first, cribbing the work of some other people, tell the story first, and then translate that to the web? So it's really a two-step thing. Does that make sense to people?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So-
I also I don't think we should, not that anyone is, but I don't think we should feel embarrassed that we don't yet have this slick, public communication, on our website. I think we've been really focused on doing the work instead of talking about the work, right? But I think
Right.
that's just as important,
Right.
is to talk about the work. Yeah.
Right. So, am I hearing that maybe Dan and Elisa and Teresa need to maybe get together first? And Chris, if you want to
Yeah.
join in, since you like the plan, and maybe you guys over the next couple of months sort of tackle kind of diving into maybe creating the roadmap first, using McFarland as a model, pick out the things that you like out of it, and look at the 2025, like Ken said, update the 2025 and figure out how to kind of put it into a roadmap, and then look at how to translate it for the web and other communications, not just the web.
Yeah, I'm also wondering if there's a way for anybody who wants to, maybe not even limiting it to the names that you listed, although that would be fine also. But if other people have, the time just to look at our current website and really familiarize yourself with it, and, offer any suggestions that come to mind, that would be helpful.
Sure.
I have a non sequitur, but I mean, it's related to what I just read in the McFarland plan. They have a community composting and community gardens. Have we ever done that? Or can we do that? Just-
We can do that, but we have not done that because we haven't identified a location to do that. And there's some discussion that the garden at San Damiano might eventually fill that bill, but it might not. I mean, we haven't done the master planning yet. So, but we haven't really identified in the park, you know, although the, you know, Parks and Recreation is doing an open space plan right now. You know, they've been working on updating their open space plan, which is something that's required, you know, and, you know, as they look at redoing places like, you know, Ahuska Park or Winnequa Park, and as we're, you know, I think, you know, some of those larger parks that we have that might have the space would be a good
Okay.
thing. You know, it'd be a good thing to look at.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? So do you guys want to connect and figure out a time to meet?
Yeah, I can send out a doodle poll or an email or something to find a time for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, those of us that haven't volunteered, if we want to look at, you know, even the McFarland plan and say what pieces we like, and also look at our current website to say maybe things that we like and things that we don't like about our current website, and get it to that group, get it to Elisa so that when they meet, they've got some information from us. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then let's move on to the 2022 Communications Outreach Plan, which I dare say we don't have much because I did not pull a meeting together.
Yeah, no worries.
It's just been too crazy.
I mean, but you know what, Nancy, getting the website where it wants to be, I think that's a central hub
Yeah.
of any communication plans. I mean, because you're just going to point people to the website in so many times, you know, so yeah, don't worry. I think it's good.
Right. But I know, like, for instance, we had Sue had identified that she was going to write an article on the whole water meter
Right.
system, and I don't know.
Yeah, so she wasn't able to, but I took care of it and got a short article in the newsletter that went out today.
Wow.
Fantastic. I was just going to say, because I know it
Yeah.
came out today. I haven't seen it. So,
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it's in there. It's a long newsletter and it's towards the bottom, but it's in there.
okay.
So
Would
I
would
will
we have
follow. Yeah.
received that in email, Mal, or Elisa, that was emailed to everyone who's subscribed to it, right?
Yeah, if you're subscribed, you should get
Yeah.
it. I can, let me check if it's on the website yet.
I know it was supposed to
I can
come out
also
tonight.
just-
I think Will said tonight, so I don't
Oh,
know.
tonight. Okay.
Yeah, it's not on the website yet, but up here,
Okay.
in case anyone wants to sign up, here is the link.
Haha. Good thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've signed up before and for alerts too, and I don't get any of them, so it's a little frustrating. But I'll do it again. But that's great, that we got that in, and certainly we can follow that up with some social media posts.
Yeah, I will put something together to post on the Facebook page about it. And then.
And
if
then
anyone-
next month, we definitely want to be promoting our Earth Day recycling event.
Mhm.
And do a little article about that, and promote that. And plan for that. That would be coming up in April.
Yeah.
And so, and obviously we've secured the date, correct?
We've got the date. We just got the contract signed with Resource Solutions on Monday. So that's good. Reynolds Recycling, who do the styrofoam recycling, are in as well. And I looked into clean sweep and just like household hazardous waste stuff. They don't do events anymore. Like they don't do outreach stuff. And I'm worried that it would get really logistically complicated if we were trying to collect stuff ourselves and then take it to them. They also charge fees for what you drop off and also like the quantity of stuff that you drop off. So I definitely, from a staff perspective, would be more comfortable only working with companies that are willing to like come out to the event themselves. So I know I had heard from people last year that paper shredding might be something that people would be interested in. So I can look into options for that if that's something the committee wants to add. But we definitely have we'll have exactly what we had last year for sure. And then just if there are other things we want to add, I can look into them.
That's great. So as we get into next month, we'll want to confirm like who can be there and if we need additional volunteers.
Yeah, I know we'll probably want at least 3, maybe 4 volunteers. But I can touch base with the Resource Solutions team because I know they bring staff as well. So we'll figure that out. And by the next meeting, I can make sure I have details on how many people we need and all of that.
Yeah, I think when we did it last year, we had at least 6 volunteers, 6 or 7, right?
More than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, Chris was kind of useless because he's just looking for all the Apple stuff. So, we couldn't really count on him, but no,
I still have your broken iPod.
exactly. But I mean, it was we had a perfect day and it was a great event. So
What do we have, like 200 cars go through?
yeah, we had
or
200
something?
cars. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I wonder if there would just be a way that we could somehow educate people about clean sweep as they're sweeping through our event. I mean, is there like something we could just like beam them on their phone, or I don't know, have them take a picture of a poster, or send something, a little card or something. I don't know. Then again, you think people probably know about it, right? They probably know about clean sweep already, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
We can
Ken, you're
definitely-
right. 200 cars is amazing. He's writing in the chat again.
It was.
And it was
good.
I mean, people brought a ton of stuff. I didn't know that there were so many tube TVs left in Monona.
Yeah.
And we had lawnmowers, we had electronics, we had appliances,
Printers. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really amazing.
Yeah. I was very surprised myself at how much junk came out. It was great.
Yeah. So that's great. So we'll plan on that, obviously, gearing up for that next month. And we've got a plan in terms of communications and putting the roadmap together. We don't have anything, is there anything else on communications outreach that people want to share? Yeah, Ken, you're right. Getting the old small engine. Oh, I know. Another thing that we had talked about doing. Thank you, Ken, for mentioning lawnmowers. So my fingers are crossed that we're going to have a Memorial Day parade this year. And like pre-COVID, one of the things that I suggested is stealing from, again, because I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. Years ago, my sister and brother-in-law took part in what is now an annual thing in their Memorial Day parade in Washington, D.C. area, where they have a brigade of lawnmowers, of hand-push lawnmowers, and electric lawnmowers and signs, about pollination and, get rid of the gas, whatever. And they do this whole routine in the middle of the parade. Like, it's like the Shriners, but instead of being on a motorcycle wearing a beanie, you're wheeling around your energy efficient lawnmowers. And I just thought, if we have the parade, it would be a really fun way to highlight the importance. We could have signs saying once every 2 weeks. Like my next door neighbor all summer long, I swear he mows twice a week. And great, Kate would push, absolutely. Yeah, get kids involved
Fantastic.
too. Yeah, I think it could be really fun to do a Memorial Day parade highlighting, specifically that issue since it's the beginning of the summer. So I think that would be good.
I think it's a fantastic idea. Love it.
Anything else on the communications front? Okay, then we'll move to, there's no new business. Then I want to move to diversity, number 7, diversity, equity, inclusion discussion items, projects, programs, policies, or budget considerations. I would only say one thing, and that is that you may not be aware of, which is well, 2 things. One is we did have a report at the city council about how the ad hoc committee coming along at the last city council meeting. The chair of that committee, Jason Chung, updated the council, and they've broken out now into 4 sort of work groups, and they're going to be coming out with a report relatively soon. They asked for an extension because, of course, this issue of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging is a gigantic issue to get your head around. And so, but it was a really nice report. I encourage you to listen to the last city council meeting. It was in the appearance section, so it's right in the front of the meeting if you're interested in that. But that's coming along. And then the other thing I would mention is that the city was able to arrange for all of the city staff first last semester, if you will, and now all of the city council and the rest of the staff that didn't take it the last time around to go through Nehemiah's Black History for a New Day course. And so, and it was a big deal because Nehemiah was only offering the class on Monday nights. And so, of course, that left us out. And then they talked about doing something else for us. But then if more than 3 of us are in one place, it's a quorum. So until Nehemiah figured out how to expand their course offerings significantly to the wider community and offer classes a whole bunch of different times, we couldn't do it, and now we are. So, like, for instance, in my section, the mayor's in my section and Doug Wood's in my section, but then the rest of the people there's 13 of us that are doing Wednesday midday, and the rest of the people that are in there are from all over Madison. So it's we've only had 2 classes so far, but today was a butt kicker in terms of really hard today or this week. And you're in it too, right, Alyssa? No, I thought
I'm
you
not.
were.
I have not heard about the, I mean, I knew like department heads went through all of it before, but I don't know to what extent, like who they include when they're talking about staff necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
as a part-timer,
Right.
it's always kind of, yeah, we'll see. But I mean, I love Nehemiah's great. Karen Reese is fantastic. I worked with her on my senior capstone project for a different organization that she's a part of. And yeah, so I'm really glad that the city that like so many of staff and council members are getting to go through some of the courses that they teach.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's all. Does anybody else have anything on DEIB? Okay.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Would this group be interested in, I haven't really thought of how to ask this question, but I think we all can agree that the true definition of sustainability encompasses, environmental justice,
Mhm.
social justice, right? And I know that up until this point, our group has been focused more on the traditional definition, which is ecological sustainability. And perhaps that's all we should focus on. But I just want to put the question out there, like, I think it would be a lot to bite off. I know that, but at minimum, perhaps we could just give a nod to this acknowledgement on our website that while our group is focusing on the ecological portion of sustainability, we recognize that true sustainability involves, has a social component to it.
Mhm.
Maybe that could be just how we approach that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you, Teresa. So updates from committee members or items to consider for future agendas. I just again have a few other things, and then if other people do, please share. One is one of the things that I learned recently is that some of you may be familiar with the Saltwise program. And we posted on Sustainable Monona about it. We've done quite a bit about it. And they do have a municipality certification program. And our public works department is actually quite good already in terms of the amount of salt that they use, which is to say they don't use as much as some other municipalities, and our roads, frankly, are much better cared for by them. So that just a FYI, that's something that Brad is looking into, certification. You're looking into, he passed it on to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I was just gonna mention that, like, yeah, we do a fair bit, and I know Public Works tries to get at least a couple of their staff members into the Saltwise training every year.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but I've been looking into the program a little bit just to see how it could qualify, and had a conversation with the Saltwise program coordinator, and it's not, it's a bit more of an informal entry process into their municipal champions. It's not like there's one application and you fill that out and then they evaluate it, but we're working on it. And I think it'll be good to get some recognition for the things that we're already doing, which, yeah,
Great.
good.
Great. It's also been suggested by another community member that as it relates to salt, that there are municipalities in other parts of the Midwest that have gone to centralized softening. And that's made a gigantic difference in not only to individual homeowners that all have softeners in their homes, like you wouldn't have to have a softener anymore. But it would also, the other thing that just came up at the Plan Commission meeting on Monday night is Chris Homburg, who's on the Plan Commission, is totally dialed as it relates to water and stormwater. It's one of his passions. And he mentioned at the Plan Commission meeting on Monday night that they did an analysis, and the amount of phosphorus coming off of lawns is via stormwater. In other words, the city made a big push thinking they were doing the right thing to tell everybody to, point their downspouts to permeable to their permeable surfaces because it's much better and it's better for the lakes because of the notion that, the environment tends to clean water. Well, it doesn't clean water as it relates to your lawn. And so he was just saying, I can't remember the exact details, but it was a pretty extraordinary. Do you remember the exact details, Elisa? It was like pretty extraordinary numbers.
Yeah, I don't remember the number specifically, but it was much higher than I would have expected. Like water that has filtered through a lawn and like is then going into the lakes is much higher than in phosphorus than water that is like coming directly off of someone's roof into like the storm sewer and then into the lakes. But yeah, it was new information for me as well. So
Right.
Well,
Right.
which makes sense because of all the chemicals that are used to keep our lawns, looking the way that our society thinks they should look. So, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, and just as an additional follow-up to the Plan Commission, as I said, we have a number of development projects here in Monona that are in the hopper and have been in the hopper for months. All of which are still in the discussion phase. We haven't approved anything yet, but what is exciting about them, aside from the fact that increased housing density is a good thing for sustainability, and affordable housing is a good thing for sustainability. And we approved a project on Broadway that already that it will be completely affordable housing, townhomes, and an apartment building, and that's behind the Shell station on Broadway. And then, but the other developments that are under discussion, that development has a lot of features about it, including solar, and then these other developments that we're talking about, one is that on Broadway, where now Monona Gardens is, and that will have a whole bunch of elements that to it that including geothermal. So that's really terrific. And then we've discussed with every single person and every single renovation, like for instance, Floor and Decor, which is now open at Southtown. We asked them when they redid the parking lot, which they haven't redone the parking lot yet in full because it's winter. So they have to wait until the spring. But when we, from the Plan Commission, we asked them to rough in for EV stations because it's much easier if you're rough in. And we know that we're going to need more EV stations here in Monona. And we've asked that of every other developer that's been in front of us. We've also talked about solar and roughing in for solar of every development that's in front of us. And that includes the development that's being considered for where the bowling alley is and post offices right now. And it also includes development that's being considered for the corner of Monona Drive and Dean. And that development, which is being proposed by the Neutral Project, would actually be a timber framed house, which is some developers are going back to because it's more sustainable, and would include a green roof. So it would be like the first green roof we've had here in Monona, and a lot of other features. I don't know that the building will be net zero, but it'll be really, they're really pushing the envelope in terms of that development. So, so I'm just excited to see those new development projects and the progress that they're making on that front as well. So, Teresa, do you have an update on I know you guys have a big deal coming up at the high school. Do you have an update on the high school project?
We have chosen a date for our kickoff event. So I'll just get that out there for everybody. It's, hold on, I gotta check my calendar. It's, what is it? May. It is May 21st. That is a Saturday, so everyone should mark your calendar. Everyone's welcome, not kickoff. I'm sorry, ribbon cutting. Ribbon cutting, our open house. Kickoff is happening like already. So the open house / ribbon cutting on May 21st. Other things to report about the schedule of the project is that during spring break, the panels will be lifted to the rooftop. And then when the kids get back, when the students get back from vacation, there will still be some work going on, which I'm very happy about that, because I don't want it to be invisible to the students. I want there to be the sounds of jackhammers. I mean, I want them to know that this is happening, and it looks like that's what we're going to get. So that's just almost, I don't know the word to describe it, like to say panels are going to be lifted to the roof. It's like, wow, this is really going to happen. Like, this is amazing. So we're currently just getting the word out about the ribbon cutting as far as the community outreach. We're going to start ramping up social media, Facebook, Instagram, another press release to get out the word. I think people still don't know much about it, and we need to fix that.
Yeah.
Oh, we had some excitement. I don't know if I shared this with you already, but last month we spoke at the annual Renew Summit. Did I already say that? So we had 2 students and 3 older folks presenting, and it went over really well. A lot of really great feedback. We even got a call from the Wisconsin Association of School business professionals. They wanted us to speak at their conference because someone had heard us at the Renew conference, and so that was great. So it's very good, very, very positive so far. Lots of lessons that we can learn, a lot of transferable knowledge.
Fantastic. So, Lisa, I'm seeing all kinds of stuff in the chat. So when you do the minutes, could
Are you
you make
capturing
sure
that?
to snag some of the stuff out of the chat too, since
Yeah.
there's been side conversations going on, if you will.
Yes.
And Ken, I just brought up as part of that some legislation that apparently the utilities are bucking to be the only ones that can put in EV stations. Surprise, surprise. You know, which is, I have to say, it's just crazy. I mean, I have 3 friends that have just bought electric cars, and all 3 of them said they nearly literally ended up stranded in their vehicles that get like 300 miles because they couldn't find the charging stations that are on the map, right, as being in the state, are so poorly maintained that they kept driving thinking they were getting to a station they could plug into, and it would be broken. And they even went to MG&E stations, which are right across from the Sylvie here in Madison, and half of those were inoperable. So and in fact, they were praising Monona because they came over to Monona to use the 2 that we have in front of, in front of the community center. So it's just, obviously, a big part of the infrastructure and a big part of the green plan that Biden's trying to get through is to put, thousands, hundreds of thousands of charging stations on highways. But boy, we're going to have a lot of electric cars, you know, a lot sooner than we're gonna have a lot of charging stations if people don't get it together, you know?
So thinking of like driving traffic to Monona and just tourism to Monona, I would think cities across the country would be just itching to put a big sign out by the highway that says,
Charging stations.
stop in and charge your car.
Yeah. And I don't think ours are high speed, are they?
No, I believe
Dan
they're
would
the like
probably
level
know.
Yeah, because
two.
they've been there a while, so they don't
Yeah.
have, that's the thing, you know. I mean, all three of my friends said lesson number one was they learned they absolutely can't count on charging at their house because it takes too long. Like they need to put, you know, the infrastructure in their house first so that they have a full charge when they leave the house. And then, you know, then it's just a real kind of puzzle because, like I said, one of them was had 10 minutes left on the car and was in Kohler, and didn't see any.
So yeah, Ken, that's what I'm thinking. So like, Ken, are you saying that this bill, like if I'm the owner of the new floor and decor store right next to the Beltline, and I just want to pay to put in my own, you know, pay for my own charging station just to get people to hop off the Beltline and take a look at my store for 30 minutes while their car is charging up. Are you saying that this bill would make that illegal if I was a business owner?
If you didn't use MGE's electricity, it would. Like if you had a bank of solar cells on your roof,
Oh,
you couldn't
Yeah.
have free.
And yeah, I think it's specifically in the case of like solar powered
oh,
or other, you know, other like off-grid.
yeah, because we don't want anyone, jeez.
Well, you know, I will say to your example, Teresa, if I were a floor and decor,
Yeah.
is exactly what I would do is to put those charging stations
Right.
in and then advertise it because,
Right,
you know, because it's a great way, you know, the fast stations take 45 minutes plus. I mean,
Right.
on a good day, it's 45 minutes, probably longer than that. And what are people going to do while they're waiting? They're going to
exactly.
shop. You know,
Right.
I mean, in fact, I can remember pre-COVID, so you know, it's probably 2+ years ago, doing work for my consulting down in Tennessee. And I learned because there were two board members of this particular organization I was working with that had Teslas, and Dan probably knows this. But Cracker Barrels all over the United States
Mhm.
had EV charging stations. I mean, they were like one of the first chain
Smart.
restaurants to do it because they figured if we're the only place that has the stations, people are come plug in and then they're going to come in and eat. Well, it's, you know, so, you know, I think it does make sense. You know, if you're a business to be able to do it privately. So anything else tonight? Any other updates, topics we need to discuss tonight? All right. Well, thank you all. I really appreciate you taking the time. Ken's still going. The baby must still be sleeping. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Do I have a second? She's almost asleep. It's been a good meeting. Yeah. Good. Thanks, Ken. I really appreciate it. And again, Alyssa, thanks so much for hanging out in the conference room.
We're all good.
There'll hopefully be a day soon when we can get together again in person. We're
know.
close, I think, right? Are we?
I think we are.
Yeah.
I think we're getting there.
Well, in
It's-
the meantime, I really appreciate it. I'm going to be there if it makes you feel any better. I'm going to be there tomorrow night for the ZBA meeting. I'm going to be doing exactly what you're doing. I'm going to be,
Yep.
so yeah, sitting by myself with everybody else on Zoom. So
It's okay.
So-
It's nicer in this room than it is in like the municipal room at the library. Plan
Yeah.
commission on Monday night felt super awkward because I was the only person there.
Yeah.
Have
So,
we
yeah,
officially, I'm sorry, have we officially closed the meeting? Because I just remembered I had an update. I don't know, at least can you get it in the minutes that Ken and I will be meeting with
Park and Rec.
Parks and Rec. Did we already talk
Right.
about that? Okay.
No, we didn't, and I'm glad.
We were
you
just
brought that up
waiting. We're
because
waiting to
the
hear back from
trees-
them.
The trees,
Yeah.
right? About the trees.
Yep, yep, we're just waiting to hear back. Ken came up with a great list of questions, and between the three of us, we kind of like massaged it and edited it and sent it back, and we're just waiting to hear from them.
Fantastic. Thank you. So I think we did, do we have a motion to adjourn? We did,
Just
didn't we?
motion.
I
Chris?
moved to adjourn.
Right.
I'll
did we-
second.
And Dan seconded, so
second.
we just have to say aye. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
I
Great. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good
Thanks,
evening.
guys.
Thanks,
Stay
everyone.
safe.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
Bye.